There was Sunday. I don't know what to say. There are many things to discuss. If you practice, it will be very useful. Otherwise, this will be a story. This will be your past. You spend your life with us and you will go. Then you will experience your future and the past and the present, and you will live your life, but that's not the life. Therefore, you will suffer. You will experience vexation, and you will be so busy to come out of vexation. That's why you always say that, I'm so busy. When we ask, can you do this? No, I'm so busy. When you ask, that can you practice this? And perhaps you would say, I'm so busy these days. In the future, I will do this. I have a plan to practice. These are the things you always tell. Because actually you are so busy. But if you don't mind, if I ask that, what have you done so far in your life? Then perhaps you can talk about your education and your achievements, your wealth. But apart from that, you are so busy. You are so busy in your mind as well. Because you had to think. You always talk to yourself in your mind. If you can be conscious at that time, perhaps you will feel that you are mad because you are talking to yourself. When we take a mad person, he talks out loud. Therefore, we say that he's mad. But you talk in your mind. But you are not mad because your voice is silent. But still, you are talking. Because in your mind there is a drama, ladies and gentlemen. Because you are the ego. If you are the ego, you are a character. I think last time we were talking about that. In your mind, you are a character. Therefore, you need to produce your drama with your emotions. That's what happened to you. That's why you are so busy. But nothing happened in your life so far, apart from your wealth and your education. You can only talk about that. I am rich and I am well educated. Or you can say that I am a good social worker. Because you wanted to pass time. Therefore, you chose a few paths, and you try to be occupied with those things. I'm not saying that they are bad, ladies and gentlemen, but that's not you. That's not you. If you see the truth, you will see yourself. Otherwise, you will only see just a drama. You will only experience just a drama. In that drama, you are the main character and you can change your character in front of others. When you talk to your son, you are the mother. When you talk to your husband, you are the wife. But whether you are the wife or the son, or the mother or the father, you feel yourself. You think that that's you. I am the father. I am the mother. The character changes. But there's a main person behind the character. It's like an actor acts different characters in the movie. You feel yourself. Therefore you want to maintain that. To maintain that, you have to create many characters. You can't be the mother all the time. In front of everyone can you say that I'm your mother? You can't do that. You have to change your character. Then that's your life. You can play your drama and spend time, which means spend your life. Then you will come to an end one day. At that time, many people will be with you. Perhaps they are surrounded, or you are surrounded by them, and when they will talk to you, a mother, or my sister, or my beloved wife, are you going to leave us? Then you will die. After that they will cry, because they need to do their own drama. But when I say this can be a little bit rude when I say that, because I'm saying these things without emotions. But I want you to understand this. Again, another drama starts. They will cry. They will have your funeral. There, at your funeral, they will cry. They will use different names. My mother, my sister, my father, my brother, my son, my daughter. They will use all these words, all these characters, and finally, they will mind their own businesses. That's it. Your chapter is closed. That's why I always tell you, you need to understand this. After your death, people will praise you. But what's the point? If I can't fulfill my salvation, and I will be born again. But people will praise me. By my dead body. That's not me. People will talk about me. People will write poems, stories, books. Now we know we have heroes, national heroes, and some social workers. People talk about them. And when you hear that, you also want to become one of them. But I'm not saying that it's wrong. There is nothing correct and wrong, ladies and gentlemen. The only thing you need to do is to achieve your salvation and experience your life. That's your purpose. But you forget this purpose when you listen to others. When you see the world, when you experience the world, you completely forget this. When you read a book about a national hero, then you want to become one of them. If you read a book about a philanthropist, perhaps you want to be one of them. You want to become one of them. Then you think that they have enjoyed their life. Therefore, I also can enjoy my life by helping others. Of course, you can earn merits by helping others. And you can be happy also. But that happiness is just a flash in the pan. It's called pleasure, it's not happiness. You can help someone. When you help and they will praise you, then you will be so happy. It's a good food to your inferiority complex. When they praise you, then you'll be honored. All these things. But these things are good things, ladies and gentlemen. That is called good. I'm not against good, but I'm going to talk to you regarding the reality. We need to discuss the reality. Whatever you do, finally you have to face the reality. Therefore, whether you do good or bad to the world, you have to face the reality. And finally, you can't say that I have done so much merit, or I have earned so much merit. Therefore, I must attain Nibbana. No, you never attain Nibbana. You need to practice the path. You need to see the truth. That's called attaining Nibbana, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we always ask you, while you are doing other things, we always ask you to practice the path and see the truth. When you see the truth, then you will see the life. What Jesus Christ once said, the life. You will see that. The Buddha said, Sopadisesa Nibbana. Sopadisesa Nibbana Dhatu. The life. That means when you're still alive, you will experience that. That's what we need to achieve in our life. When I say in our life, actually I'm talking about right now. We need to achieve that. There is only one way to achieve this. Right now, you need to see the truth. When you talk about your life, actually it's right now. Not tomorrow or day after tomorrow or yesterday. Right now. Right now, this is your life. You live only now. This is the present moment you live. You live means this is the present moment you experience something. When you experience something, you should be able to experience yourself, not the ego. When you listen to this sound, when the sound is created in your mind, you should be able to experience yourself. Yourself means you should be able to experience the mind, not the ego. When you experience the ego, then you will start the drama again. Because you are a character now. You need a character. You will find a character. If you forget your character, perhaps you ask, who are you? You ask, who are you from others to identify your character. Then they will say that, can't you remember? You are my mother. Okay. Then suddenly you come to your character. Then after that you can pronounce yourself as you are the mother. Then you become the mother. Then when something happens to your so-called son or daughter, what will happen? Then you will cry because you are the mother. You are supposed to cry. If you are the mother, you are supposed to cry. You are supposed to suffer. Therefore you suffer. Because you are the mother, you should suffer. If you are the mother, you should suffer. If you are the father, you should suffer. But if you are the mind, you don't have to suffer because suffering is not created in the mind. The mind is free from suffering, ladies and gentlemen. That's I told you, the mind is the purest thing in the world. We just need to experience the mind. You came to the monastery to experience the mind. How can we experience the mind? When can we experience the mind? Tell me, when can we experience the mind? You came here to listen to the Dhamma, and you thought that I will go to the monastery and I will listen to the Dhamma and I will attain Nibbana. When you say I will attain Nibbana, you never attain Nibbana, because we are talking about I will attain Nibbana. That means again, then you have created the character, and that character will practice the path gradually, and one day that character will become an arahant. That's how people think that in an arahant body there is an arahant. That's why when an arahant passes into parinibbana, people think that, oh, arahant, an arahant, or the arahant died. Because that is created in your mind. If you don't understand the Dhamma, then whatever you see will be a character. Even this will become a character. This has a past. I'm telling you. When you don't see the truth, then you will see this one as a character, and you can explain about this. The cube on the table. Guru Hamdra always used this. That one, that cube. Because you have a past about this, and you feel that this is the cube you have seen before. You can't stop that. Then this is also a character, but silent characters, because these things are not talking. They stay still, but you need them. You need them to produce your film. Then your entire life will be a film. Your entire life will be a movie. Then you will be awarded with your death. That's it. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, everybody will die one day. That's the first thing we should understand. Therefore, whether we do good or bad, we have to die. Then, before we make decisions, we need to think about our purpose. If you want, you can be happy with doing something, but can you stop death? But if you die, what's the point in doing all these things? In that, perhaps you think that, oh, this is so negative. That's the so negative idea. If we die, then anyway we had to do something to the society and all these things. That's how you have been taught. We will die, but we have to do something. We have to do something good to the society. Why? Why do you want to do good to the society? Why people ask you to do good to the society? What about bad? They don't talk about bad. Everyone teaches you to be a good person, to do something good to the society, because they can be benefited, ladies and gentlemen, by your time, which means your life. If you can serve the world, that's good. If you can serve to everyone, that's good. That's good means that's good for them. What about you? Yeah, you will go to heaven. I know you will go to heaven. If you earn merit, you will go to heaven, or you will come to the human world again. And when you come to the human world, what will you do? Then they will teach you to do good again. Then you will do good again, and again you will come to the human world. When you do good, or when you earn merits, you have to suffer at the same time. You know that. When the mind is created, you have to suffer. Because if ignorance and attachment is created, you have to suffer, you have to be vexed. That's the truth. By helping others, you have to be vexed. You all are social workers. I know that you help everyone. Huh? Don't you suffer while helping others? If you are not an arahant, then definitely you suffer while you are living, ladies and gentlemen. You can't stop that. Then when you come to let's assume that you will come again to human world and you become a human being, then you have to go to school again. Do you want to go to school again? Huh? You will have to do all these things. You will have to start from scratch. It's like snake and ladder game. That's it. Or you can become a god. Then you have to stay there. You have to stay there. It's still, gods have vexation. I'm not talking about that God. Let's leave him alone. But let's take other gods or angels, whatever you think. But in that case, you can see they are vexed, because if they have wantings, they are vexed. If you believe a god, according to Hinduism, and there are many gods. Okay, I'm going to talk about those gods. If your God wants to help you, doesn't he has a wanting? If he has a wanting, doesn't he have a wanting? Then if he has a wanting, then he has to suffer. When you suffer, he suffers. Then what's the point in becoming a god, ladies and gentlemen? Again, you have to suffer. By looking at you, they suffer, ladies and gentlemen. What happened to these human beings? They suffer. And sometimes they want things. I want that goddess. But another god comes forward and says, I also want. Then they have to fight. That's why they are fighting there. They fight and they try to win. Nobody wants to be defeated. It doesn't matter whether a god or human being, ladies and gentlemen, nobody wants to be defeated. Therefore, everybody fights to achieve things, acquire things. Therefore, no one is happy. Everybody is vexed. Now I'm going to remove that body thing, everybody, because we don't have to talk about that. When we talk about everybody, let's talk about the mind. Let's talk about the mind and the ego. When we talk about the mind and the ego, now we are talking about every sentient being in this world. If the ego manifests, then definitely you are vexed and you have to suffer. Whether you are a god or demon or an animal, whoever. We are talking about the mind and the ego. Therefore, if the ego manifests, then definitely you need to suffer. You have to suffer. You can't control that. Therefore, just think about this. When you make your life decisions, actually, I had to tell these things when you were in like 8 years old, 10 years old, because at that time your teacher asked, who do you want to become, my child? Then you said, then I want to become a doctor. Everybody, I want to become a doctor, I want to become an engineer, I want to become a singer, I want to become a dancer, I want to become a housewife, perhaps. These are the things. Nobody wanted to become an arahant, handsome. But nowadays we have kids who say that I want to become an arahant in the future. Then we had to correct them. But oh, dear, you don't become an arahant in the future. Try to become an arahant right now. But when you associate with the society, ladies and gentlemen, they teach you their social things. Their social things means actually they teach you the world. That's why everybody wants to become someone. Everybody wants to become someone. That's how you have learnt. I want to become someone. That means always you are talking about the future. You have been talking about the future all the time. Therefore, when you come to the sasana, when you want to practice, when you want to practice the path, then you use the same words. I want to become an arahant. Then you may have a plan for that. Next year I'll do this, and after that I'll do this, and after that I'll do this. Next year I'll be Sotapanna. However, next year, then I have an year. Then every week I will come here, and every week I will practice, and then in weekdays I will do my business. I will go to work, and I'll help my family. And in the weekends I will definitely come to the monastery and I will practice. Then I have 52 chances, because within a year you have 52 weekends. Then you have 52 chances. Then within that 52 chances, I will become a Sri mentor somehow. This is how you think. Therefore, you come today and you listen to the sermon, and you know that I have many weekends to listen to this, and I will definitely do that. Then I will, and I will, and I will, and I will. Yes, then you will. This is what happened, Lisa. This is what happened. Then you will be happy. And when you are on your deathbed, then you can say, I will be happy after my death. That's it. Because each time you have been living in a conceptual world which is created by time, which is an illusion. That means you have been living in an illusional world, which is called the future. The future. You always talk about the future because the present is a hell, because you can understand the reality. In the present, I am nobody. How do you think? In the present, who are you? In the present, you are a listener, Sanjay. You are a listener. You are just listening. That means, actually, you can't say that I can't say that you are a listener. Actually, you are nothing but a sound. Right now, because the sound is created. Other than that, nothing is in your mind. A sound is in your mind. You don't have your entire life in your mind. You don't have your family in your mind right now. When the sound is created, you will only experience the sound. You perceive the sound. You can't perceive your family at the same time. Then again, you have to come back, and that means in the next moment, you have to think about your family. Then you take everything together and think that I listen to the Dhamma and I have my family. I have to help them to attain Nibbana. Not only me, but also they will attain Nibbana after that. Look, the ego is deceived. Anyway, it is deceived because it is formed with ignorance and attachment. We can't blame it for that. And the ego wants to produce the drama and maintain the drama. In that, you need to add many characters. Then you are not alone. Isn't that the truth? Don't you want to attain Nibbana with your family? Don't you think that, what will happen to my father? What will happen to my mother when I come to the monastery, or when I practice the path? What will happen to my family? Then I must help them. That's how you always think. I must help them. I must help them. I want them to attain Nibbana as well. I think these words are so rude, ladies and gentlemen, but this is the truth. We need to face the truth. If you really want to attain Nibbana, I want you to face the truth. Whether it is bitter or not. But I know that this is bitter. This is bitter to the ego, ladies and gentlemen. But to the mind, actually, this is the sweetest thing. Because the mind is fed up, ladies and gentlemen, because the mind can't experience itself. If you are the mind, you will commit suicide right now, because you experience yourself, like you try to experience yourself, but you can't. You only experience the ego, which means vexation and suffering. And you have to make a character and you have to live in that. Then suffering is created in the mind. The mind has to suffer, but the ego is created and the mind has to suffer. Because the ego is an illusion, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, the ego can't feel anything. Only the mind can experience all the things. The mind can hear this, but the ego can't hear this. But the ego has wantings. The ego has a wanting to hear this, but the mind can only hear that. Because of that wanting, suffering is created. Therefore, the mind has to suffer. The mind experiences everything, but the ego controls it. That's why we need to think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, this is about your life. This is your life, actually. That's why I want you to focus on this. When you realize this, you will stop everything what you do, and you will only focus on this. Because this is your life. Every day, every time, in every minute, every second, every millisecond, every picosecond, nanosecond, that is your life. Your wealth is not your life. Your education is not your life. This society is not your life. Your character is not your life. But you can easily be identified with your character, because when the ego manifests, then you need a character, you need the identity. When you need the identity, then you will be easily identified with those characters. People can create a character for you. I can create a character for you if you want. Then I can say that, oh, you are a stream enterer now. Now from today, then you have a new character. When you come to the monastery, then you come like that, because you are a stream enterer now. Then you should expect for everyone to bow down in front of you. Because you are a stream enterer. The ego wants to be identified with that, especially when you come to the monastery. When you think about your salvation, the ego wants to be identified with that. That's why some people, but in our monastery we don't experience these things, because we always ask them not to think about these things. You need to practice the path. Don't talk about your margapala. When you achieve your salvation, then you will see that you will experience it. If you can't experience it, just achieve until you experience that. Then you will die. Then if you have achieved your salvation before your death, then you won't be born again. Otherwise you will be born. Then you need to practice again, because your job is not done yet. That's what we need to do. We don't have to think about whether I have achieved or not. Then if you think about whether I have achieved or not, that means you are vexed, ladies and gentlemen. You are waiting for something. That's why we always ask not to do this. Don't think about your margapala. It will happen. If you're on the right track, it will happen. If you can't achieve it, so be it. Then you will be born again. For what? To achieve your salvation. You should determine. You should determine. Determination is very important in this monastery. You should determine. That actually. You should determine that. Or determine about your salvation. That's it. That means each time you try to achieve your salvation. Each time. Not tomorrow. Each time. Each time you try to achieve your salvation. You don't have a target. Don't have a target, ladies and gentlemen. Don't have an aim. But in the world you have to have an aim, then you will have aims, and then you have a desire, then you are vexed, then you are the someone who's behind the carrot. You know who's that. Because when you are vexed, you can't stop yourself, then you need to move. You need to move. That's it. You are ignited. Therefore now you have to move. Then when you want to achieve your salvation, that means when you want to become an arahant, then your aim is to become an arahant, therefore you try to achieve that every day. Then you feel vexation because you can't, you think that you are not. Therefore, you only experience vexation, you never experience happiness. The right way is, when you start the path with the right understanding, I'm telling you, from the first day, from the first moment, you will experience happiness. But if you have a target to achieve, you will feel that you are behind the target. Therefore, you need to accelerate this. Then you will only feel vexation. When you feel vexation, you should understand that ignorance takes charge. That means there is no place to the Dhamma in your mind. The Dhamma means the truth. Therefore, please don't have a target. When I say please don't have a target, please don't have an aim, then don't you feel that relaxation? When you don't have a target, when you don't have... But again, now when you come to the society, then you have to have a target. You have to show them at least that you have a target. I have a target and I'm fired up. You have to act like that. Otherwise they will think that you are just someone. You are a miserable person. When you don't have desires, then they think that you are so miserable. You just waste your time. That's why initially I can't tell someone, like when I meet someone, I can't just say that please don't have a target. You don't have a target, please. Desires are very dangerous. Don't have a desire. I can't say these things because they have been taught that having a desire is very important when you want to build your life. Look, again, when you want to build your life, you have to build your life. It's like a building, you have to build your life. Have you built it? It will collapse very soon, I'm telling you. If you have built it, it will collapse. When you have built your life like a building, now you have to maintain it, and you have to protect it. Anyway, one day it will collapse. I'm pretty sure. On that day I will come. I'll come to see you when it collapses. This is not negative, ladies and gentlemen. Life is not a building that you can build. I know, perhaps you can understand this, ladies and gentlemen. Perhaps, you don't want to understand this. Perhaps. You don't want to understand this because the ego doesn't want to understand this. The ego thinks that life is something, an entity, therefore, now you can build. If life is an entity, you can build it. Therefore, the ego wants to build something. The ego wants to build a business. They want to build you can build a business, perhaps. Let's see that. Let's leave it away. But when you talk about I want to build my life, then it's a lie. You can't do that. But conceptually you can do it. Then you can plan your life, and you can say that from 2030 I'll be there, and 2035 I'll be there, and 40 I'll be there. And that means actually you became God. And you have decided your fate, ladies and gentlemen, that you know that I won't die until 2075. And everything will go according to my plan because I'm God. No, tomorrow you will die. Day after tomorrow you will die. Perhaps right now you will die. How long will it take for you to die? But here I'm not talking about your death. But we need to face the reality. But in that case, I'm not saying that don't do anything because you will die. No, I ask you to achieve your salvation because you are going to die. You are going to die. I'm not talking about senior citizens here. That's what you have been taught. Senior citizens will die. If we ask from a child, who will die, son? Who will die sooner, son? Then there's my grandmother, my grandfather will die. Because actually they don't know the reality of the life yet. Death is not the matter, ladies and gentlemen, but if you can't achieve your salvation and die, that is the matter. Then you will be vulnerable, you will be destitute, because right now, like last time I told you, like last session I told you that you have a choice right now. You can choose. You can choose between the Dhamma and the world. You have a choice. You can save yourself right now. But you will miss this chance. You will miss this boat forever. After that, you don't have a chance. You don't have a choice. Look at your dog. Well, you will understand that. Preach to it. It doesn't have a choice, ladies and gentlemen. But you know that it's also a being. It's also a being, but it doesn't have a choice. Other than eating, drinking, sleeping, and having sex, it doesn't know anything. Therefore, your dog can't achieve its salvation. It doesn't know about its salvation. It doesn't have a choice. But you are blessed. You are blessed and highly favored. That's why you have a chance, or you had a chance to become a human being, and you can think. And perhaps you have seen that. You have seen many intellectual disabled people, children. They don't have a choice. How lucky you are. You have a choice. That's why we always ask you to choose something beneficial to your life. I want to become a doctor. I want to become a teacher. By saying that, you chose something differently. You chose the world again. You chose to become a character. Then you want to build that character. By the end of 2040, I will become a consultant, and I will earn 500,000 rupees per month. Now you are going to build your life because you have a target. But each time you suffer. You earn 1 rupee, you suffer. You earn 10 rupees, you suffer. That's it, you suffer. You had to face many situations. You can't handle them. Then you get stressed. Then you go to consultants. You do counseling sessions. Perhaps you want to commit suicide. But one of your friends come to you like an angel and save you. And saved you. Now again, you want to live. You want to build your life again. These are the things. Then you try to build your life, but each time you suffer. So as the Nibbana. When you want to achieve your Nibbana, if you suffer right now, you are not attaining Nibbana, ladies and gentlemen. That's not the path. Therefore, don't have a target at least. Don't have a target at least when you try to achieve your salvation. Therefore, what you need to do is right now try to understand the Dhamma. Then you will be able to leave everything behind. Then you won't find about your margaphala. Because you are happy right now. If I am happy right now, why do you want to achieve something? If I know that I am happy because of the Dhamma, because I don't do anything to do or make myself happy. I don't preach to you to make myself happy. I want to help you. That's why I always tell you that actually sometimes I feel that if I can hide myself, because when I see you, I can feel that you all suffer and you don't try to find the light. Perhaps you try to find the light, but you don't try to find the light. Well, I can't condemn you by saying that you don't do anything. You do something, but that is not enough. Because I know that you try to practice this. You try to practice this. Actually, what I want is, I want you to change your life. Because this is the way of life. But the way of life you use is different. I don't ask you to come and ordain. I ask you to change your life. That means the way of life. There are two ways of life. One is Samma Ajiva. The other one is Micca Ajiva. Most of the time, almost everyone practices Micca Ajiva. Micca Ajiva, I will explain to you. Here, Micca Ajiva means when you are vexed, you have to do something to come out of vexation. When you feel vexation, you have to do something to come out of vexation. That's called abhisankara. You have to do abhisankara to come out of vexation. Then you will feel pleasure. You will feel pleasure. Then from vexation to pleasure. All the time when you feel this, you try to come out of vexation by doing something, then you feel pleasure. Perhaps I didn't complete this word, therefore you are vexed. One day you will ask them, please, can you complete it? Because there are some people who can't see this lesson, gentlemen. Do you really think that they are very successful people? I'm not insulting them. Do you really think that they are very successful? No. Even though they are the richest people in the world, they are suffering, ladies and gentlemen. Each time they are suffering. When the place is not tidy enough, then what will happen? If you are vexed by seeing that, if the place is dirty, if you can't live there, do you really think that you are a successful person? In that case, I'm not saying that you have to be dirty or untidy, but you should be able to live in every condition. When the mind is vexed, you try to tidy up your place, because the mind is vexed. Now you can't live in there. Because you means I, the ego, I. This is vexed all the time. When this is vexed, it wants to change the surrounding. Because it thinks that it's fixed. It thinks that it's an entity, it's fixed. This is I. Therefore, nobody wants to change this. The ego thinks that it's fixed. It doesn't want to change itself. It wants to change the surrounding. Therefore, you try to change the society or others. When you are vexed, you try to change something else and try to be happy. Then you experience pleasure. This is a way of life. But this is called Miccha Ajiva. This is called Miccha Ajiva. When you want to eat something, you eat. Isn't that the truth? I'm not asking from you. Because you practice Samma Ajiva. When you want to eat something, eat means not to fill your stomach, ladies and gentlemen, to satisfy one of your wantings. Then if you want to eat something delicious, then you buy or you make, you cook and you eat. That's wrong. When I say that's wrong, then we don't want to attain Nibbana. Yeah. Actually, no one has to say that I don't want to attain Nibbana. I can guarantee that you won't attain Nibbana. Because if you practice this path is completely wrong. You have been practicing this for eons. But still, you are in the samsara. You are still suffering. Because of this path. This is one path, ladies and gentlemen. And the Buddha said the other path. Other path is when vexation occurs, then you find the roots of vexation. Then you go to ignorance and attachment. When you go to ignorance and attachment, you will realize that vexation occurs due to ignorance and attachment. Then you will eradicate ignorance and attachment with the help of the Dhamma. Then you won't move forward. But in this case, you always move forward. When you move forward, because this vexation happens due to ignorance and attachment, whether you know it or not. It happens due to ignorance and attachment. Then what is ignorance here? The mind believes that the world is pleasurable. Let's take very, very simple explanation for that. The mind thinks that the world is pleasurable. When the mind thinks that the world is pleasurable, then attachment is created to experience pleasure. But the world is not pleasurable. The Buddha knew it. Then he taught us. Therefore, we also know that. The world is not pleasurable. The world is not vexatious either. The world is neutral. That's what we need to understand that. Therefore, don't say that everything is vexatious. Don't say that everything is pleasurable. Both of them are wrong. The Buddha said that everything is neutral. Pleasure or vexation is created in your mind. This is neutral. Therefore, if you want, you can associate with this. An Arahant can associate with this, and you can associate with this. This is so neutral, ladies and gentlemen. This is nature. Nature is not pleasurable. When you see a beautiful waterfall, you add that adjective. You can say that I saw a beautiful I saw beautiful. You put more vowels into that. Beautiful. Then you added that. And beautiful also you added. You added that. There is a waterfall. Yes. But you added the adjective. Beautiful. I saw a beautiful girl. I saw an ugly girl. You add that. You added it, ladies and gentlemen. No one is beautiful. No one is ugly in this world. Everyone is neutral. You are talking about your own mind. You are talking about your vexed mind. That's your emotions. That's your feelings, ladies and gentlemen. That if you see beauty, if you see ugliness, then actually you are vexed. You are talking about your own experiences. That's why when something is beautiful to you, that can be very ugly to someone else. The reason is that's your state of mind or nature of your mind. That's the nature of your mind at that time. That's nature. I don't think God don't think God says that you are beautiful and you are not. Then you can ask, then why did you make me? Why did you create me? If I'm ugly to you, Father, then you can ask him. Nothing. Nothing is ugly in this world, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing is ugly. Nothing is beautiful in this world. When something is beautiful, you are vexed. Therefore, but the thing is, when something is beautiful, which means when you feel that something is beautiful, actually you are vexed, but the problem is, you will have a wanting to acquire that. Because the ego found a method to experience pleasure. Because this foolish ego, it is foolish. It is foolish because it is created with ignorance. This foolish ego decides that that thing is pleasurable. That's why it looks beautiful. Therefore, its ignorance is strengthened by that view. Therefore, when you experience pleasure, ignorance is strengthened by that. In that case, again, attachment is created and you are even vexed. This will happen, this will occur all the time. But the thing is, if you only know this process, then you have to live your life by doing this process. Whenever you want something, you achieve it. Whenever you want something, you achieve it. That's it. This is one path. I don't have to say that practice this and see. I don't have to say that because you have been practicing for eons. Nothing happened. Only vexation and a glimpse of pleasure, and it will fade away. In less than a second, it will fade away. And again, you will only experience vexation. That's why you keep doing things, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, if you want, I can show you hell, or I can let you experience hell in your life. You just need to do only one thing. You go to the Valley Malur. Don't talk to anyone. Leave your phone somewhere. Don't talk to anyone. You go to Valley Malur and stay there for 6 hours, then you will see hell. Yeah. This is the easiest way to see hell, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to show you that. If you are willing to see hell, or experience hell. Just 6 hours. 6 hours, I think 6 hours is enough. Then you will experience it. But you can't talk with anyone. And you can't dream. You can't sleep. And you can't dream about what you have watched. Like, you can't think about the movie, the last movie you watched. You just need to stay there. Don't do anything. Don't do anything. Then you will experience hell. Then, at that time, you will realize that how difficult your life is. Then you will realize that that's the reason you do things. Each and every time you do things to come out of that vexation. That's how you want to talk. That's why you want to move your arms and legs and all these things. That's how you want to think. Then again you come to see something. Then you listen to something. Then again see something. Then you sniff something and try to experience smell, essentially. Try to experience smell because you had to do something, because you feel vexation. You always try to come out of vexation. That's your life. I'm sorry to say this. That's why I ordained, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't want to practice this path anymore. This is the easiest way. This is the easiest path because we have been practicing this. Therefore, we know this for sure. We can practice that. You don't make any mistakes, any mistake in this. Because you have practiced this. You have been practicing this. Right now, perhaps you practice this. This is the path, but wrong. This is the wrong path. Can you stop this? That means when you want to eat something delicious, will you stop cooking? Will you stop buying it? Will you stop that thing and start contemplating the Dhamma? And you will straight away go to your teacher and discuss, because a desire is created and the mind is vexed. The mind asks you to find it. That's how it is. The ego always forces you to find this. Therefore, you can't stay at home. Can you remember? Then you went to the shop and you bought all these things. Then you came home again and you cooked. Then you spent 5 hours to cook that delicious food, and finally you ate it within 5 minutes and said, "Oh, I'm satisfied now." Can you imagine that, ladies and gentlemen? You have wasted like 5-6 hours in your life. Just to eat something. Just to eat something. Because you didn't know this path and you didn't practice this path. Therefore, when vexation occurs, you can't hold it, you can't handle it, and you couldn't eradicate this. Therefore, you had to go to a shop and you had to buy things and you had to cook. To do all these things, you had to spend your time. You spent your very life, ladies and gentlemen, which is the most precious thing in the world, you spent, and finally you ate it. Actually, if you spent like 5 hours of your life and cook something, please don't eat it, ladies and gentlemen. Please keep it somewhere, because that's your life. Preserve it. That's your life. We eat just to survive, ladies and gentlemen. Why can't you understand that? We need food, I agree. We need just to survive. Not to satisfy the ego's needs or wantings, ladies and gentlemen. This foolish ego has many wantings because it is born with ignorance. It is so ignorant. Therefore, the ego is ready to spend a whole day in your life just to cook a curry. When you go on holiday, just imagine that. You wanted to go on holiday. Yeah? Again, I'm not insulting you, you know that. Yes or no, otherwise I don't tell this, because you always want to go on holiday. Yeah? Do I have the permission? Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Right. You always want to go on holiday. When you want to go on holiday, that means the ego, not you. The ego wants to go on holiday. That means the ego has a desire to go on holiday. When a desire occurs, the mind is vexed. Then you have to go now. When the mind is vexed, you don't have any other method, then you have to use the same method. Now you have to book your tickets and you have to go on holiday. Then you go on holiday for 2 weeks, then you come back. And you rest another week. Now 3 weeks. And you go to work. 3 weeks ago, you got a desire. If you had a teacher with you, you could eradicate that. You could have eradicated that, ladies and gentlemen. But you didn't have a teacher. You didn't have the Dhamma. Therefore, you had to practice the same path that you have been practicing for eons. Then you decided to go on holiday. You spent 2 weeks. You saw things. You heard things. You smelled things. Let's assume that you came to Sri Lanka. Then you smelled Sri Lanka. Yeah? You saw Sri Lanka. You heard Sri Lanka. You touched Sri Lanka. When you touch a tree in Sri Lanka, then you touch Sri Lanka. Look, how educated the ego is. How intelligent the ego is. But you had to do all these things because you are so destitute, ladies and gentlemen. You didn't know what to do. That's why I'm telling you, we are so happy, ladies and gentlemen. The Buddha came to our life and showed this path. When the mind is vexed, we know what to do. When our kids, the kids who live with us, when they also have vexations, ladies and gentlemen, when they listen to someone, then they also get desires and they also get vexed. Then they straight away go to their teachers and discuss the Dhamma. When they discuss the Dhamma, they can eradicate vexation for the time being at least. Then they don't want to move forward with that. Now they can be happy, at least at that time. They don't have to build anything. Then finally, when you practice this path, then desires won't be born in your mind. When you practice this path, when you realize the truth. I can tell you that with my experience. In my lay life, I wanted to build things. But right now, I don't have anything to build. Those feelings are not in my mind. Actually, that's why I can say that I'm so happy, because I don't have those types of feelings. In my lay life, I wanted to build houses and build mansions and live in there and earn a good name. But I don't have those thoughts in my mind now. Therefore, I don't have to fight. But when you have those thoughts in your mind, the desire is created and the mind is vexed, then you have to do something to move forward. That's what you have to do. If you have those thoughts in your mind right now, then you will build, you will move forward. But when you practice the path, those thoughts won't come to your mind because you know that they are useless. I have this robe. I don't even imagine wearing a pair of trousers. I don't want. But I see you wear a pair of trousers and nice garments. I see that. But I don't feel to wear them. But I used to do that. This is not new. I used to do that. I used to enjoy that. Because I didn't know that a monk in silk. Yeah. Can you complete it, please? A monk in all less? I didn't know that. I'm talking about myself. Therefore, I wore suits and go to people and they look at me, oh, you are so handsome today. Huh? Oh. Because you are handsome today. Because the ego was searching for food. But now I don't have those thoughts in my mind. When you practice the path, your mind won't associate with those thoughts, Sanchana. Then you will realize that. You will realize the purpose of food. Therefore, whatever you offer, we eat. Now here, try to understand this. Every day, when you cook at your home, you spend at least 3-4 hours to cook. You have like 5 members. Let's assume that for those 5 members, you spend. Let's assume that 5 hours. Then for each member, you use 1 hour. 5 hours for breakfast, lunch, perhaps brunch. Many meals. Perhaps one day you will have like 24 meals. When you want, you can make one. Brunch, crunch, crunch. You can make. Whenever you want to eat, then whenever you want to eat, and whenever everyone, like at least most people want to eat, then restaurant owners will create a name and they will serve you a dish. Then you can eat. Let's assume that like for those 3 meals, and you spend 5 hours to cook, and 5 members. That means for each member, you have 1 hour. In our monastery, we use 6 hours and cook for 1,000 people. Cook for 1,000 people. They don't have to cook. Ladies, they don't have to cook. Ladies, if you come here, you don't have to cook. But you should be able to eat what we cook. Because you can't order anything. Can I have this and that, this, half of this and quarter of this and all this? No, you can't. You should be able to eat what is edible. We will only offer you something edible, and you should be able to eat that. Then you don't have to waste your time for cooking. You can survive. You just need to practice the path, at least to control your desires, ladies and gentlemen. Then you can save your life, ladies and gentlemen. You can save your time, which means you can save your, I'm talking about that save time, kind of save life, not to protect. You can save your life. For what? To achieve your salvation. But the modern society is completely different. Because actually it is useless. I'm telling you. Don't be offended. It is useless. Because everybody wants to do something. Because they feel vexation. They want to do something. And social media is there. Therefore they can stay on social media and they can practice their wrong path all the time. Let's talk about your clothes. Look at my one. That's it. This is a piece of cloth. Just to cover my body. I can cover entire my body with this. And I have another robe, because the Buddha has to use 3 robes. One is thicker than this, for the cold seasons and all this. This is enough. I have only one of this. I can use this to fulfill the purpose. And the rest of my life is used to achieve my salvation. To experience the life. What about you? When I wear that, I don't have to iron this, press this. I don't have to do that. I just take it and wear. I have been wearing this for a week now. Tomorrow I will wash this. Because this is a piece of cloth, ladies and gentlemen. This is not tight. Because of that, we can wear this. We can dry all the time. During the day, we dry this and we wear it again. We wash it weekly. Then I can use it for 2-3 years, perhaps. I don't have to sell my life for a piece of cloth, ladies and gentlemen. Please check your shopping bill. Then you will see. There is a saying, don't sell the sun to buy a candle. But you always do. You always sell, because the meaning of that saying is, don't sell something precious, or don't exchange something precious to something doesn't have a value. But you sell your life. You don't sell your car, ladies and gentlemen. You sell your life to buy a packet of rice according to your wishes. Please understand this, ladies and gentlemen. This path is wrong. This path is wrong. I don't want you to come to the monastery and practice the path, but I don't want if you can practice this at home. If you can lock your fridge, if you can lock your kitchen, in the morning you will open it and go there and you eat whatever you have and you come out of the kitchen and you lock it. Whenever you have wantings, then you associate with your teacher. And try to eradicate vexation rather than igniting it, rather than adding fuel into that. We need to deal with ignorance, ladies and gentlemen, but you deal with vexation. The Buddha asks us to deal with ignorance. That's called yoniso manasika. We don't have to deal with vexation. You don't have to think about, I'm vexed, what can I do now? No, you should understand that I'm vexed. Reason is ignorance and attachment, then I should practice the path to eradicate ignorance and attachment. But here, you only focus about vexation. Therefore, you try to eradicate this. To eradicate this, you have only one path. In that case, you are correct. You are right. To eradicate vexation, you had to do something. You had to listen to a piece of music. Then you can keep listening. Then you can do that for 1 hour, 2 hours. Then you can say that, oh, that piece of music is a music. Oh, a piece of music is music to my ears. But it's a devil to your life. You wasted your life by listening to that. What did you get out of that? I'll let you listen to a piece of music. Just tell me, what will you get out of that? Nothing. Or you can say that, no, I use it to calm my mind. Huh? You did it. Huh? You did it. Okay. That means now your mind is so calm. Just after you listen to the music and listen to that music, and your husband comes home, and start a quarrel, what will happen to your mind that you made calm? What happened to that piece of music? Then you will have to face the music. That's how it is, ladies and gentlemen. You can't calm yourself by listening to a piece of music. But when I say this, I go against the world. But that's the truth. Otherwise, why the Buddha came to this world, ladies and gentlemen? If you can use a cassette to calm yourself. Why Jesus Christ came to this world? Why Prophet Muhammad came to this world? Why Lord Krishna came to this world? You can't use this. But yes, worldly, you can spend time with these things. Then you won't remember your problems. When you watch a movie, you can forget your problems for a moment. Then when you watch your movie, where you watched it, you completed it, now again you have your problems. You have your issues. Otherwise, you have to pay your rent. When you have to pay your rent, then you can watch a movie. Your problem will be sorted. Will it be okay? No. Still you have to pay your rent. But you spend another 3 hours to watch that movie. Now you have only 5 hours to find the rent. Or you can be in the present at that time. You can be in the present. In the present, which means in the present, like you just think about what's going on with the world. Like you listen to sounds and all these things. That is another practice. To stay in the present. You can do that. But the problem is, then you had to be in the present all the time. You had to try all the time. But the Buddha's way is completely different. You have to eradicate ignorance and attachment. Then you will only experience the present. You don't have to be in the present. You will be the present. That means you will be in nature. You will be now. You don't have to try. Otherwise, you have to try. You have to listen to this, and you have to see. And while you are seeing that, you have to think that I see it, I see it, I see it. Then you will forget your problems. Yes, of course, you will forget your problems. And after that, again, you will get them back. Because when the ignorance and attachment is there, vexation occurs, ladies and gentlemen. No one can stop that. That's why we always ask you to practice this. Understand the truth. Understand anicca dukkha anatta. But I can teach you anicca dukkha anatta, as I taught you before. I can teach you that. I can teach you, but you will practice this at your home. Because no one is there to stop you. But here, if you are here, then you can't, because kitchen is closed. And you don't have the food what you want. Perhaps that's why you are not here. You might think that, oh, this life is so hard. This life is so hard because I don't have things that I want. Yes, if you want something, you are talking about vexation, ladies and gentlemen. We can give you, but that's not your salvation. Again, you experience pleasure. Then you will realize that when I come to the sasana, I feel pleasure in the sasana. When you feel pleasure in the sasana, actually, this is not the sasana. When you feel neutral, that's the sasana. You should be able to feel neutral, everything is neutral. This is neutral. This is blue color, but this is my favorite color. How? Why? Isn't it the favorite color? This is your favorite color. Okay, why? Why do you like this more than this? You don't have an answer for that. But you like, I love this color. The most beautiful color is blue. Therefore, I want to paint my bedroom with this color. Because this is the most beautiful color. This is how you think. Then you spend like a week to paint your bedroom. Perhaps you go to shop by shop to find this color, because that's your favorite color. But this is neutral, ladies and gentlemen. What's the difference between this color and this color? This is only a mental perception. Colors are not in the pen even. This is a mental perception. What's the difference between this and this? When you say this, will you be satisfied? When you say this, will you be satisfied? When you say this, perhaps you will be vexed. When you say this, then you will experience pleasure. Then you will think that this is pleasurable and this is vexatious. No, both of them are neutral. One day you will realize that. Actually, what do you want, ladies and gentlemen? Do you want everything to be pleasurable or everything to be vexatious? Oh, next one, can I say that? Next one. Everything to be neutral. If this speaks, the ego speaks, it will say that I want everything to be pleasurable, and I know that the world is pleasurable, that's why I'm looking for pleasure. If the world is pleasurable, why do you have to make it pleasurable, ladies and gentlemen? If the world is pleasurable, then why do you build things? Why do you change things if the world is pleasurable? But this foolish ego can't understand that. It wants to build and experience pleasure. That's why you have seen nice architecture. In various types of architectural drawings, architectural designs in the world. Because people believe that the world is pleasurable, but they try to build something to experience pleasure. But if you believe that the world is pleasurable, why do you want to build something to experience pleasure? Think about that. That means when you build that, you can experience pleasure. That means the world is not pleasurable. When you build it, you experience pleasure. It happens due to vexation. When you believe that the world is pleasurable, then the mind gets attached to that view. The world is pleasurable. Let me experience it. That's the view. That's how the mind gets attached to that. Let me experience it. Then the mind is vexed because there is a wanting there. Therefore, the mind gets vexed. Then it has to build something. Then it will come out of vexation. Then it feels pleasure. This is how it is. But my question is, do you really want the world to be pleasurable? I'll explain to you. Let's assume that when you see something, you feel lust. You don't have to assume, but let's assume that. You have seen many things, so you feel lust. Lustful feelings created in your mind. You have seen many things, and you have heard many things. You have eaten many things. In this case, let's assume that when you see something, you feel lust. Do you want to see that forever? Do you want to, let's assume that there is a picture or whatever in a house. Do you want to stay in that house by looking at this? Oh, let's assume that you like to eat biryani. Do you want to stay in a house where someone cooks biryani, where you like it very much? Do you really think that you can have a calm mind when you are there? Just try to understand this. When you feel that smell, what do you do first? Don't you think that it breaks your serenity? It destroys your serenity. Because you like it. Then when you feel that smell, then a desire is created. Then you try to fight with that fight against that desire. Because you don't want to eat it right now. You want to meditate, or you want to write a letter, you watch a movie. But when you feel that smell, then now you have to fight against it. Because when you feel that smell, then the mind is vexed. Now the ego wants you to go to the kitchen and eat it. But you like biryani. But don't you think that it destroys your calmness? Now let's take another example. You live near a government toilet. Which means public toilet. But it is not very clean. You always feel that. When you feel, can you enjoy your life? No. When you feel the smell of biryani, can you enjoy your life? No. Again, you have to fight against it. Because you can feel that a desire is created and you have to do something now. Now, let's take our third example. There's a neutral place. It doesn't have biryani or public toilet. That environment is so neutral. Do you have to fight? That's why. When you like something, you have to fight. When you don't like something, you have to fight. But when something is neutral, you don't have to fight. You can live your life. If you want to live your life without fighting, then you have to understand that everything is nature and everything is neutral. Everything is neutral, which is everything is neutral. You don't have to make anything. You don't have to make a story and contemplate. That's why. Actually, it is really easy for us to attain Nibbana, because we just need to understand the truth. That's it, the truth. We don't have to create anything. We don't have to imagine anything. We just need to know the truth and contemplate about that. That's why we need the Buddha to understand the truth. And with the help of modern science, we can understand up to a certain level. But with the Buddha's teaching, we can understand the rest of things. Then when we have these two, we can easily understand this. Only the truth, that's it. Everything is nature, ladies and gentlemen. Nature is neutral. That's why I told you at the beginning, when you see beauty, that happens in your mind. In Sinhalese, beauty is called lasana. Lasana means laya asvasana. That means you're coming out of vexation. When you come out of vexation by seeing something, you can say that that picture is beautiful. That girl is beautiful. That boy is beautiful, which is handsome. That's another synonym. That means by seeing that, you came out of vexation. Two things occurred, ladies and gentlemen. One is, this occurs. This occurred. This is the mind. When this occurs, you can see the boy or the girl. Because this is the mind. You can see the colors with this and perceive the colors, and finally you will perceive a girl. Here, simultaneously, this also occurs. This is the process of defilement. When this occurs, you come out of vexation. When you come out of vexation, a pleasure forms. Then you see a girl plus pleasure. Now this is called beautiful girl. This is beautiful girl. This is that beautiful girl. You see? Now beautiful, which means the beauty was created in your mind. That's one of your emotions. Most of the adjectives are our mental emotions, ladies and gentlemen. There's a girl, yeah. You can name it as a girl, yes. There's a girl. But she's not beautiful. Remember this, ladies and gentlemen. When you go to or when you see a beautiful girl or a handsome boy, I'm talking to youngsters here. When you see a handsome boy or beautiful girl, you will lose the serenity of the mind. Because that's a mental issue. Something happens in your mind. That's why you lose your serenity. Because you can't see a beautiful girl. You can see a girl, but the beauty is created in your mind by coming out of vexation. That means the view you have in your mind that the world is beautiful, that means the world is pleasurable. Because of that, the mind is vexed, and when it comes out of vexation, it feels pleasure, therefore it feels beauty. You never ever have seen a beautiful girl in your life. You have seen a girl. You have seen a boy. You have seen an elephant. They are not beautiful. They are not ugly. They are neutral. They don't destroy your calmness, serenity. Your own ignorance destroys it. Therefore, you don't have to deal with beautiful girls or handsome boys or gigantic elephants. You don't have to. You have to mind your own mind. That's your own issue, ladies and gentlemen. You need to deal with the Dhamma. You need to deal with Kalyana Mitra, noble friends, and eradicate that. Don't focus on these things. Just focus on this. Whenever you feel pleasure, whenever you see beauty, whenever you see ugliness, you just need to go to this. Don't stop here. Go to this. It happens due to ignorance. And don't believe that something is beautiful. It is not. If this is beautiful, then I should also see its beauty. I'm not blind. But this is not beautiful to me. Any color is okay for me. Any color is okay. Can you agree with me? Any color is okay. Because colors are neutral. How can you say that this is more beautiful than this, ladies and gentlemen? What are the facts? What are the reasons? What is the argument? This one is more beautiful than this. These two colors are neutral. When you understand that, you will be okay with both colors. Then you don't have to waste your life to change colors. When someone asks, which color do you prefer? What do you have to say? Let me tell. Blue. Do you have to tell all these things? Give what is available. Don't waste my life. There are two types of food. Both are edible. Tell me, what do you want? Don't you think that this is the victory? I think this is the best feather in your cap. That means you are okay with everything. No one can hurt you. You don't want to change anything. Imagine that one day. You don't want to change anything. Because everything is okay for you. Because everything is neutral and you have understood it. Then you become nature. For nature, nature is neutral. Did you understand that? For nature, nature is neutral. Therefore, nature doesn't want to make anything. Nature doesn't want to destroy anything. Nature is okay with everything. Near the waterfall, there is a rotten, dead body of an animal. Nature is okay with that, because that's also nature. Can you have one in your garden? You can't, because that is yuck. But the waterfall is so sweet. Let me have the waterfall. I don't want that thing. Then you try to change. You try to choose. You choose because you are vexed. Don't you think that you have to practice this? This is so nice, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm telling you. This is so nice. When you experience this, at least a bit, actually, you will be addicted to this. Addicted to this means you will stop other things. If you have enough money, enough things to live, then you will leave them behind, and you will practice this because you have been doing all these things to achieve happiness. But happiness is an illusion, ladies and gentlemen. People are looking for happiness, but they name pleasure as happiness. There is no such thing called happiness other than pleasure. You only experience pleasure as happiness. When you try to keep happiness in your mind, then you think that we need to achieve happiness. You use that word. But when you attain Nibbana, you won't feel happiness. You won't feel pleasure, or you won't feel vexation. You will feel neutral. If everything is neutral, is it happy? That's neutral. That means you stay calm. Your mind is so still and calm. That's it. You will realize that for a young boy, if I show a dirty movie here, can you be still and calm? You can't. At the same time, if I show someone slaughters an animal, like cruelly, like cut into pieces, alive, how do you feel? But both scenes are nature, ladies and gentlemen. It was so neutral. But what happened to your calmness? What happened to your serenity? You will lose it. Then you can't say that when you see something lustful, you can't say that it's so pleasurable and I am so happy by watching that. No, you can't be happy. But people have to use these things. That's why they get the most views these days. For this sermon, perhaps you will get like 100, 200 views. But a girl comes and do something, a small thing, that's it. 2.5 million within a week or two. That's the reality. I don't expect that to happen because everyone is not fortunate enough to understand the Dhamma and attain Nibbana. This number is okay with me. Actually, I know that if 100 people listen to this sermon, it's too much. Just 5 or 6 is enough. When 100 people listen to this sermon, then definitely 5 or 6 will attain Nibbana, and that's the rate. Because everybody likes to listen, but nobody wants to practice. I know I keep insulting you, but don't be offended. I don't want to insult you, but that is the truth. That's why when you listen to this Dhamma and you understood that, and you think that, no, I will definitely achieve my salvation, and you go home and you practice this path. When you practice this path, how can you attain Nibbana? Here you are dealing with vexation and pleasure, vexation and pleasure, vexation and pleasure. From vexation to pleasure, from pleasure to vexation. That's the life. This happens. This is a cycle. This is a vicious cycle. It happens all the time. When you practice this. But we can break this by using the Dhamma. When you are vexed, you need to understand the world. You need to associate with the Dhamma. By doing that, you can eradicate ignorance. Then you won't feel vexation. Now you don't want to eat the delicious food. When you are hungry, you can eat something. Because you have destroyed your desire. You can destroy your desires, ladies and gentlemen. Desires are created due to ignorance. That's what you need to understand. Desires are created, but due to ignorance. When you eradicate ignorance, then desires won't be created. And if you don't have desires, you don't have to build anything. When you have a desire to build a house, you can do two things. One is you can build the house and use this path, and you can build the house and maintain it forever. The other one is, when you have a desire to build a house, just not to live, I'm talking about. You know, when you, if you can remember your house, you know, that's not to live, it's to, is that okay to say that? To show off. I'm the devil and this is my palace. In Sinhalese, we say, යකාගේ හැටියට විමානේ. To show off. That's fine. In this case, you have a desire, because of the desire to build a house, then the mind is vexed. Now, you can do two things. You can either you can eradicate desire, then you can stay calm. Otherwise, you can come out of vexation by building a house and maintain it forever, because you still want it, whether you have it or not. You haven't eradicate your desire. Desire is the same, and it stays in your mind. Then you want the house, then you have to maintain it. That's why you have to maintain all these things that you have built so far. You wanted a husband. Can you remember that? Yeah. You wanted a husband. At that time, if you met us, we would teach you how to eradicate that desire. But unfortunately, we didn't meet at that time. Therefore, you use this. And you got a husband or a wife or your spouse. Right? Now you have to maintain it. Yes or no? Not it. Maintain your spouse. You have to maintain until your death, or until her death, or his death. After that also, you have to give alms, you have to do all the rituals, you have to go to cemetery, and then you have to stay there, and you have to mourn, you have to look after her family, her mother, father, and all these things. People believe that that's easier than attaining Nibbana. Therefore, they don't want to spend time to achieve their salvation, but they want to spend time with all these things. After that, you had another desire. I want a child. That's good for the society, but you wanted a child. You wanted a child. That means you got a desire, another desire. Because the machine is on and it is activated. Machine, which means the process, ignorance. Ignorance is there. Therefore, you will have 1,000 desires, ladies and gentlemen. Today, up to now, you may have n number of desires, and it will continue. because the machine is activated. Ignorance is there. The mind is ignorant. Therefore, it will get many desires. Then, if you practice this path, then you will bring everything to this world and you will be a security guard of these things. But you can say that, I am a consultant. Of course, you are a consultant, but a security guard. You guard all these things. You have to maintain all these things. That's what happened to you. Right now, you are suffering by thinking about all these things because you are going to leave them behind and go to I don't know where. I can't just say that hell, but somewhere. You have to leave all these things behind and go. Then finally, will you stop thinking about that, ladies and gentlemen? To make yourself happy, you can think that no, I don't have any desires. I'm so free. I gave everything to my sons and daughters. Now they are happy. I'm happy. But one day you will say that I'm so alone, Swamin Wahanse. That's what I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen. Don't practice this. Try at least once. Try, please. When you have a desire, try to understand the Dhamma and try to eradicate that. Then you will feel that. You will feel your Nibbana at that time. People want to be rich, ladies and gentlemen, because when they have a desire, they want to achieve it in no time. Because they can't tolerate vexation. That's why people want to be rich. That's why you want to use your money. I know money is so powerful. Why? Whenever you are vexed, you can come out of vexation so quickly. That's why you need money. That's why people know that. That's why people earn money. When a poor person wants to buy a car, then it takes another year. He has to live with that desire. But when you are rich, you can buy it in no time. You just need to go, you can order. Then they will deliver it to your home. But the problem is, you have to maintain it. You have to sell your life for that. Therefore, actually, the ego is a foolish businessman. It sells the sun to buy a candle. I'll see you next week. May the blessing of the Noble Tripurcham be with you all. Thank you.